Hello and welcome back to Butcher That Model and our little Thursday thing. What's up to me chat? Hang on a minute, let me just click on this. Comments. Oh, there we go. Right, so let's have a look who we got in today. Who was the first one here? Scroll up. Sprue and glue. Am I too early? David, you're never too early, mate. No one here yet. 10 minutes ago, no one here yet. I was in makeup. You don't look this good without going into makeup, mate. Sorry. Jeff's in, Candygram from Mongo. How's America today, Jeff? And then Lewis is in, one making trucker. Are you still off on the sicky poolies or are you tramping somewhere in your truck, Lewis? He'll tell us in the chat in a minute. Lewis is asking Dave, are you feeling any better, David? Yeah, I'll be feeling better, Dave. Lows today, yes, thank you. Oh, there you go. Good news there. Dave's feeling a bit better. Sprue and glue. Scroll down a little bit. Candygram, big news. Hopefully, it's really good news. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Got some big news on Monday, though. Lewis has got some big news. Oh. Obviously, Natalie's pregnant again. That's my guess. I don't know. It's just a guess. I don't know. There it is. Oh, there Natalie's in as well. Hi, everybody. Hello, Nat. Tall Nat. Nat the nostrils. That was my entire view at Telford last year, was Natalie's nostrils. Every time I looked up, it was just Natalie's nostrils. Got my calendar marked for Monday, 4 p.m. I don't know. Am I missing something? Monday, 4 p.m. I don't know. Is that when Lewis is going to announce it on his Lancaster door? Oh, that's my compressor. Ignore that. It may go off. Let's turn it off a second. We're going to use that in a minute. Oh, no. Nat's saying, God, no, Dave, I'm not pregnant. All right. That's a shame. That's a shame, Nat. I don't know. Let's have a quick drink. Oh, dear. Thanks for wearing sunglasses indoors. Oh, headaches, mate. I hate headaches. Migraines. There's nothing worse than a migraine. I tried the payment, didn't work. It gave me a headache, I know that. Even the cement mixer refuses to help him out. The iridescent paint job. That's what we're going to discuss today. I mean, this was my Christmas present from my darling wife. And there we go, the Ever Queen. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is not a cheap thing. It's a very, very expensive piece of kit. And I was it's one of those kits that I was dying to do, but I was terrified to do because it's such, well, it's a nice piece, but it's an expensive piece. So, and then I heard on the grapevine about these new paints that were coming out. Vallejo, we're going to do one, and Green Stuff World. So I waited and waited, and then I watched it. They came out, and I watched the reviews. So, oh yeah, I know just the thing for that was the Larios Beetle. Now, this isn't in any way, shape, or form a paid-for presentation or an advert or anything for Green Stuff World. I've had no contact with them. I paid for these myself. I bought these, set one myself. So this is an honest, unbiased appraisal, opinion, show you what they're like and what they're capable of. I mean, it just proves itself. It stands itself. It's just, for a Beetle, I thought it's the perfect thing to try it on because Beetle shells are iridescent and they change colour. So I've also done, she has wings but made of leaves, and so I've done it on that as well using a green base coat, not a black one, and it seems to have worked out all right. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to have to obviously go in later on and do all the browns, and I'll probably do some of that later on. But what's this stuff like to use? Well, we're going to show you. I personally, I think this stuff's amazing. It really is cracking stuff. A couple of things you have to remember with, though. you have to basically, you can spray these of other colours, and I've done it here now with green. Primarily you paint them of a black, preferably a gloss black. For a gloss black, it just enhances the effect of the reflectivity of, because they're quite opaque and it's used in the back. It's like spraying silver on something gloss black. You'll create a mirror. That's how mirrors are made. It's the same sort of idea, but you're using flakes. It's quite technical and scientific, but you're using flakes, and it just reflects the light in different ways. So it is clever stuff. It's not the easiest stuff to apply, I must admit. You can brush paint it, and we're going to do that. I've set aside two spoons where I've actually brush painted. That's Tamiya X1 gloss black that's been brush painted on there. So we've brush painted the undercoat. I'm going to brush paint some of the colour shifts on there and show you that you can actually brush paint it, but it's not an easy thing to do, and the results you'll see for yourself in a bit. And it's there, the effect is there, but it's far better if you're spraying through an airbrush. So we've got a selection of spoons, and we're just going to do that today. We'll just give them a quick spray. Now, the thing with them is, you have to build it up in very, very fine misty layers and literally build it up. So we're going to do a bit drying time, do a bit drying time. I might plug the hairdryer in actually, and although it's going to set the noise level off, and you're going to hate it. But unfortunately, because we're doing this live, it's going to be the quickest way we're going to be able to dry in between coats. Otherwise, we're going to be here for hours, and I'll probably run out of things to say, and you'll probably get bored and go off and do something else. So unfortunately, there may be some noise today, but it's the nature of the beast. So what should we do first? Let's have a think. Let's get straight on to some. What we could do is we could spray them first and then go down to brushing and then go back to spraying. I think that's the way it's going to work. So let's move Lennon. We call him Lennon. I was going to call him Mingo, but my son said, no, I'll call him Lennon. So it's Lennon, it's my beetle. So we'll put him there and we'll pop her wings to one side. The other good thing about it is it's once it's dry, it's very robust stuff. Because I've been handling this for days now, working on it, and there's no sign of any wear on the paintwork at all. So it's actually pretty solid stuff when you get it down there. So let's make a start there. Right, it's going to get noisy. What? It's just a plastic spoon, Lewis. You're not joining the Model Maker Spoon Hut. Ah, you're missing out. You're missing out if you're not in the Spoon Hut. Right, so like I said, I paid for these myself. This isn't in any way, shape or form being sponsored by Green Stuff World. However, if they'd like to send me set 2 and 3 and maybe some of the boulders for the texturing, I wouldn't say no, but probably not going to happen. So this is set 1, and we have Cobalt Blue, Toxic Purple, Psychotic Illusion, which suits me down to the ground, Nebula Copper, Celestial Azure, and Burning Gold. Now on the Beetle, I used Psychotic Illusion on the back of the Beetle, and then the top of the horns, and then in between I was misting underneath with Toxic Purple, and it blended together absolutely beautifully. There is no, and the same with the mouth parts. That's what was it, Toxic Purple as well. If you see on the horns, it goes from purple and blue to sort of like a greeny colour and blue, and it just blended perfectly together. I was actually really impressed at the way they blended together. The transition is just there. So that was so easy to do. I was expecting a struggle with that, and like layers and layers and layers, and it just appeared. The transition just appeared. There was no effort involved whatsoever. I hate to say it was easy to do, and I was like, oh, all right, that took no skill whatsoever. I was hoping it was going to be like a skill thing. I was going to be bragging rights. Look how I blended this together. No, it just did it. It was beautiful. So easy to do. Why isn't it sponsored? Lewis, I had to pay for these myself, mate. I got no contact with Grease Stuff World whatsoever. A, I don't speak Spanish, and B, I just thought, oh, I like them, I'll buy them. So, but however, honestly, if they'd like to send me set 2 and 3 for me to review and try, and that, I wouldn't say no. I really wouldn't. But it's probably never gonna. Right. So anyway, airbush on. So it's going to get noisy because we're airbushing. And that's saying don't forget to poke a thumb up, Dave. All right. I'll brace myself for the thumbs ups. Right then, airbush. Now this is my airbrush of choice. It is a Iwata CR Revolution with a 0.5 needle. Now, there is 1 or 2 slight issues, not issues, you get issues, the same issues with any paints that you use. It does suffer from dry tip. And you are putting through quite thick metallized flakes. At the end of the day, it's metallic. It's an iridescent metallic, but it's still a metallic. So I've got my 0.5 needle. I wouldn't go anything less than that. Okay. 0.5, it puts it through. Anything less than that, I think you'd struggle with, and you'd get more dry tip as well. So go for 0.5. And what should we try first? What's that then? What's that one? Psychotic Illusion. So we'll have a spray of that first. That will stop in a minute because it's got a. There you go. It stopped. It's got a reservoir. Right, so we're not going to go mad. We're not going to go huge amounts in. That's my phone pinging. Let's turn that off before Dad decides he's going to phone me up, and Scott's going to send me all sorts of messages, and my phone's going to be playing pingy songs and noises, and that's that gone. That's stopped that then. Right. So basically, it's. I'll just do it. I'm going to make a mess out of them. Clean up later. Mixing on. Really, really fine. I'm putting more air in than paint. What's happened here? Paint on, air on. So, I mean, you can't see anything yet. You might see a tiny, tiny bit. Paint on, air on, dry it a bit with the air. Back on the paint again. Back on again. See, it's very quiet, isn't it? Because I'm concentrating on. Right, and I don't know if you can see that. It's starting to now pick up the effect, but you've really got to build it up very, very slowly. So that was Psychotic Illusion. The brush is empty. Lewis said, don't forget to stick your thumb up, Dave. Yeah, cheers, mate. Let's give us a good shake. I'm not going to cheat and use my paint shaker. Now, one thing I have noticed about these, by the sound of the ball, it's rather large in some of them. They seem to have different sized balls inside them. This one seems to have the gloss azure quite. Where's that one? Celestial Azure. That one, CA. I've marked the brushes with what I'm actually putting on it. Right, so put some colour on it and then hit it with the air. The thing is as well, they've all got different levels in which they start to appear. That's only been one coat and a really fine misting of Celestial Azure, where that was a couple of mistings of the Psychotic Illusion, and there's still a lot of black showing through that. So they've all got different levels that you've got to put on to get the effect. But it's just playing with them. At the end of the day, once you've played with them, you'll get to know how they, you know, that works. Right, let's give this another light misting. And see how that pick it. It's very hard. It's really noticeable in real life, but with the camera, it's quite hard to. Now I can see that purple and blue really nicely, and yet when I'm looking on the camera, that's predominantly blue. But give it a bit more air. Dry it up a bit more. Give it another black. Back on the air. And then back on the paint. Now I'm spraying this at about, what I'm spraying at about 15 psi, which is kicking it out just right. I think if you went any higher than that, I think you'd be putting on a bit too thick and a bit too harshly. You see that? It's there, it's subtle, but it's there. I'll do that somewhere else. I put a bit too much paint in the pot this time. Get another black through. But it really is this simple to apply. It's just a light coat and then just hit it with the air just to dry it out. And it does dry remarkably quickly. And blend it again with the colour. So that's the Celestial Azure. Right, Cobalt Blue, CB. Yeah, I'm very professionally, I'm very organised today. I'm not that organised, I didn't check that one. Right, you can stop now. I'm pressing, you can stop now. He's not going to, is he? Okay, right then away. Right then, so this is Cobalt Blue. I actually quite like it. It's very darker than the other ones. So let's give it. And I hit it with the air. And then we'll give it another. And then back on just there. That's all you got to do with it. Just give it a little, give it a mist, Kick it with the air. Give it a miss. Kick it with the air. I think if you're just trying to, if you whack this up to like 25 psi and just slapping it on and do the tenor, slap it on. I don't think. In fact, I've done it now. I've got a flatter there. I don't think we get the same effect with it. I think we did it a bit too heavy. Now that's, so that's a cobalt blue. It has got a purple sheen to it, but it's more on the bluey side. Whereas the Celestial Azure is really pale blue with a little bit of the purple side in it. The Psychotic Illusion is just takes ages to build up. Right, so let's that'll do. We'll dump some of that out of there. We'll give this a clean out quick. Oh, kitchen roll. I'm not that organised, I didn't get any kitchen roll ready. A bit of a clean. Probably want another colour. Might be. A dry tip there. Don't do this at home, children. It's a big no-no. I've just done a big no-no there. I've just taken my needle out from the back and then pushed it back through after wiping it. Oh, that's a no-no. Don't do that. Don't do what Dave does. Dave's an idiot. Always clean your airbrush properly. Right then, so what we've got next? We've got what's this one? Nuclear copper. Should we have got no? That's the last. Toxic purple. Well, I've got the toxic purple. We'll leave the really dark colours for last because we've got the gold and the copper. We'll do Psychotic Illusion and a blast on that before we go through the really dark colours. Right, so I'll stick a bit in there. So this is toxic purple. That's what. Get that out of the way. Let's give it a bit of blast in. Yeah, with that one. Now this is a bit like the Psychotic Illusion. This takes a bit of time to build this one up again. It's very, very transparent. Back on with the air. Back on with the air. Back on with the paint. Back on with the air. It goes down very well. It levels itself quite well as well. So if you do go on a bit too heavy, don't panic. It does. I've just done it there, and it's self-leveled quite well actually. Right, so we'll put that one to one side again. That was a toxic purple. It's a really pale one. Right, so let's go back to Psychotic Illusion. Scott seems to think I use my light. Awful Chang Gaming. I'll give that a good old squirt in a minute through there. Right, psychotic illusion. Move your second coat. Second pocket coat. Now hopefully we should start seeing this coming through now. There we go. On with the colour and then straight on with the air. I mean, seriously, if you're putting this through about 15 psi, give it a little mist, give it a lot of air. Back on and give it another mist with a paint, and then straight back on with the air. And it's so easy to use. Beautiful stuff. It's just, you know, working it and building it in layers. That's the secret to this stuff. You can't do a TED and slap it on. I'm back on the air now, by the way. It's literally just, you know, 2 or 3 seconds with the paint, 10 or 15 seconds with the air, back on with the paint just a sweep, and then straight back on the air. All you're doing. A doddle. When you first start doing it, especially with these paler colours, the psychotic illusion and the losing the thread now, toxic purple, they're the ones that you've really got to work at and get layer and layer on for it to have that effect. So that was the psychotic illusion. And we'll just go to the toxic purple, and then we'll get on to the darker colours, the copper and the gold, and then I think what we'll do is we'll use one of the lighter colours through the brush, and then one of the darker colours, probably the copper or the gold through the copper, I think. And the toxic purple. So is everybody alright with this? It's not boring, is it? Am I boring you to death? Dave saying how much for the paint? Off the top of my head, they were $24.99, Dave, for the set. From Green Stuff World themselves. I just bought it, but I actually got it off eBay, and it wasn't until I looked at the address from the seller, it was Green Stuff World themselves. And straight away, see how that second coat is boom, it's there. And get on the air. Or taking, you know, taking pats around it, putting coats on, it's there. Just on the paint. We've got a bit more there. I've got a little bit left in the cup, I might as well use it up. Now, one thing you'll notice is I've left on the, do it on white, you can see it. I can see it. I can see tiny little flecks of purple. Won't work over white. Will not work over white. Do it over a gloss black or a darker colour. I did it over the green for the wings, and it worked a treat. But for best effect, gloss black. Right, so let's go on to the darker colours. We'll do the gold one because the copper's about the. Well, the gold one's quite an orangey colour to it. glass through. This is burning gold. And this is what I've used of a green on her wings, and this is what it looks like if you use it of a black. You can change slightly the colours by what base coat you're putting it on. Back in with the air. Bring it back in a little bit. Put the seconds of paint back on with the air. Now these darker colours cover out really quickly. Just giving it plenty of air, very little paint. Obviously, if you were doing this yourself at home, you wouldn't be having to rely on the air dry method. You could just set it down and let it dry itself for a couple of minutes. I haven't got the luxury of time on that today, unfortunately, because it's being a live stream. It's all you to see us, isn't it? That is the burning gold. It's quite a, it's red or orange to gold. So there's a bit of pink in there as well. And like I said, I've just done that on her wings over green. And the effect is similar, but there seems to be, it's showing the green through a lot more than the gold and the reds in it. I'm quite happy with that. I like that effect. It's what I was after, and it worked. So happy days. That had a black through. We'll give it a quick clean. Just a bit of a quick gumball backwash clean. By gumball backwash, I mean what you do is block up the that one bubbly type thing. Calling the magic gumball backwash. Now we'll whack some copper in there now, and that'll be our last one for the through the airbrush. Turn that bloody noisy compressor off. It must be driving you up the wall by now. A bit of copper in there. Now this stuff covers really quickly, I discovered. And I was messing up with spoons the other day with this. On with the air. Flattered that one a bit. What I should have done is, that was my own stupid mistake then. That was a newbie mistake then. I used cleaner in my airbrush and then went straight through on the paint. And what I should have done is shot through that first little bit. See what's happened now? I've got so much more cleaner mixed in. It doesn't matter, it's on a spoon, it's not important. But it's a very rookie mistake, that is. When you use an airbrush, once you've cleaned it out, put some paint in it, give it your first little bit of a blaster on a bit of tissue or something like that, just in case you end up in a situation like that where you've still got some of the cleaning fluid in the end. That was a rookie newbie mistake there, and I want shooting for that. I should know better than that. I've been doing it for long enough. But I've always said, don't be like Dave. Dave's an idiot. If that had been on a kit, that would have actually clumped in the dettle. And I'm only a spoon, luckily. Right, so that's the copper. That's so easy to put down. Well, you do it right. It goes down really well, and it's very red to coppery. I don't know if there's any other. There's not really any purple or green in that. It's very red and very copper. It's a nice effect. Not my favourite though, I must admit, that's not my favourite one of all. I quite like the gold. I think out of all of them, Celestial Azure is the one I prefer. Right, so let's give it a clean first, and then we'll turn this blooming noisy compressor off. We'll just give it a bit of a quick clean, and then when we've finished, I'll give it a strip down with a clean. Because at the end of the day, it is a metallic that you're putting through your airbrush, so you will have to do it a flipping good clean afterwards. Lynn likes the blue. Which blue? Which blue, Lynn? The Azure, the Celestial, the darker one, or the Psychotic Illusion? Oh. Right. Loosen all that off. Pull the needle through a little bit. Turn you off, you noisy rat bag. All right, where did I put? I shouldn't really do this. I'm not for doing this. Where did I put the rest of my airbrush? Ah, right in front of your face, staring at me. See, even the old bill are coming to get me now if I'm not using the airbrush correctly. Right, let's put that away. We don't need that again now. That's the noisiness. Hopefully the noisiness is finished with. So that's how you lay them down with an airbrush. And it dries very, very quickly. And it's actually pretty robust stuff. So any Celestial and the first one. So that's the Celestial, and the first one was the Azure, wasn't it? I think I'm with you on that, Lynn. I quite like the blues to the purple. I think that's a beautiful effect. Right, so let's try. I'm going to have a drink first. I'm going to swiggle. Have a look at the chat. Yeah, Lynn likes those two. I'm with you, Lynn. I like those two. Can you try the copper over the white, Dave? It doesn't work, mate. We'll give it a go. We'll do it on a brush. Oh, that's better. Right. So let's try. We've got a white on that side, Louis, so we'll do it. So we'll do the copper as a brush, and then because that's the darkest one, and then we'll go totally the opposite end, and we'll use the toxic purple because that's the lighter one, and that'll give us a real test then of what they look like when you brush them. A few drops in. That's going to totally white out, and I'm just going to hate that, so we'll put that off to one side. That's just a normal white plastic palette. I wouldn't recommend putting these on a wet palette simply because they probably have, the water will probably have an adverse effect in the composition of them, and it's metal. It's at the end of the day, it's got metal flakes in it. It's a metallic. Never put metallics. Honestly, seriously, don't put metallics ever. Put metallics in your wet palette because it will contaminate the entire sponge with metallic flake, and it will travel. Seriously, I don't know how it does it. It's some sort of weird mystical black magic stuff, but it seems to travel through the sponge and pop up in paint you've put 6 or 7 inches away on a large palette. It's weird. Right, so we'll give this a bit of a brush on. Well, this is going to take time to dry, and it really, you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend bush painting it. If that's all you've got and you want to give them a go, then by all means do it. They can be brushed, but they're far, far better and easier to use for an airbrush. Right, so we'll try the white side and see what sort of effect we get. Absolutely pants, Lewis. It just smears. Although to be fair, there is no undercoat on this, it's just bare plastic. But all it's doing is it's smearing the pigment around, and it's having no effect on the coloration. So can you actually see that? It's just, all it's doing is just moving the pigment and not actually doing anything. It really doesn't work, mate. Let's give that, oh no. Oh no, no. You're gonna have to do, I might have to get the hairdryer out. That's even noisier than the compressor. But there you go. I mean, what you'd have to do is put a really thin coat on and then leave it to air dry, and then put another thin coat on and leave it to air dry. You really, really, no, there's no primer down, but it's just over white. It's not. I've actually got some bits primed up here. Let's do it on a bit that's not going to be very conspicuous, which is here. So this is over white primed. No, it's just having the same effect. It's just, I don't know if you can actually see that. It's not going to work at all, whereas you put it over the black. A bit of sprue here. It's a little bit different. So yeah, it just does not work at all on white. Stick to the black. So give it a wipe. I'll leave that to dry for a second, and we'll go on to our other one, which was always our toxic. Yeah, toxic purple. We're going to do, isn't it? Not good on light colours nowadays. Not good at all, mate. You see, even when you put it in the palette, it's just like not good. Not good on white. Right, so we'll give this a go through with a brush. This is the one we're going to really struggle with to get nice coverage later on. It probably will give it about 3 or 4 coats. Definitely airbrush is the way to go with this stuff. I know airbrushing, when you start off airbrushing, it's a very, it's not cheap, and I know some people have been like Andrew on Beyond Hope. He was very lucky. He bought a cheap knockoff Chinese airbrush from eBay, and it's been perfect. It's been brilliant. He's had nothing but good things with it. He was very lucky, in my opinion. He was very lucky to get a nice one. I went through 6 or 7 trying different ones, cheap knockoff Chinese airbrushes, and absolutely awful. It's bad enough. It's learning to airbrush. It's a very steep learning curve, but it's very short. But it's very steep. It's like, once you get it, you'll just get it. It's all about your paint consistency and working out your air pressures to put it through. It's even harder when you've got an airbrush that's got a terrible needle and a terrible nozzle, and you're trying to put paint through it and it just splatters, and it's a nightmare. So it's not a cheap thing. Airbrush, buying your compressor and your airbrush isn't cheap, but get the best you can possibly afford, and you make your learning curve so much easier when you're not having to fight an airbrush. It just makes it so much easier. Honestly, you'll get far more out of it. A lot of people try it. They buy a cheap Chinese knockoff airbrush with a cheap compressor, have no success with it for the first 3 or 4 weeks, and it was just stuck in a cupboard, and they've wasted 30 or 40 quid. You might as well seriously spend £100 and get something like an iWater Neo for 60 or 70 quid, and one of the small compressors. That's all you need at home. You don't need a dirty, great big, hulking, great big, all singing, all dancing compressor to start with. Just buy yourself one of the small nail bush ones, even. As long as it's putting out, between 15 and 20 psi, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, Lewis uses a cheap one, clear coats now. Yeah, that sort of thing they're ideal for, mate. You don't want to stick things through your hydrogen steam back or your Badger or your iWater. Yeah, the cheap Chinese knockoffs, I've still got a couple that work fine, or work, and I'll use them to put plates through. 2 times more shine. Just so that it's not messing up my decent airbrush, So, the other thing we did, I forgot to show Nat. Nat, you still there, Nat? The second one, what's Lynn saying? The second one from the left is Toxic Purple, which is the one we're trying to brush paint onto this one. We've got to leave it to dry for a little bit before we can carry on with the brushing, but that's the Toxic Purple in. Scott saying there are videos on YouTube on how to improve a cheap airbrush. There are, Scott, but at the end of the day, spend a bit more. I bought 5 or 6 over like a 2-year period of cheap, terrible airbrushes that I probably spent, for like £20–25 each. By the time I've done that, I might as well have spent £100 and bought a decent one right from the get-go, and not had a year of disillusionment of trying to work with something that just wasn't going to work. There are really good mid-range price-wise airbrushes, like I said, like the iWater Neos. You can't go wrong with one, mate. For your first airbrush, just get one of them. Just bite the bullet, save up for a few weeks, and get a decent one. Otherwise, you're just gonna. Jeff's agreed. If you're just learning airbrushes, don't buy the cheapest knockoff ones for learning by quality. You'll save yourself a lot of headache. You will, honestly. Jeff's got the iWater Neo CN, cracking airbrush. Lynn's got a Badger Patriot. That's the top end, Lynn. That's posh. You went straight for a posh one, didn't you? But like Jeff's done there, the iWater, the Neo CN, absolutely cracking little airbrush, and at a decent price. So it won't kill you. It won't break the bank. You might have to save up a couple of months, but just do that. Don't ever buy the cheap, nasty eBay knockoffs, please. You just have so much headache and heartache with it. It's not worth it. Right, let's have a look at these. The other thing I did, the nail art. Sorry, not the nail art. The diamond art that Nat's been doing. Now, my wife, she who farts in bed downstairs there, she does diamond art, and she had loads. Even the first one she did, she had loads and loads of them little tiny, these things. What was it? Oh, nothing important. Loads and loads of these things. These are the leftover little. They call them diamond art. It's not. It's plastic dots, basically. So she gave me. I thought, I'll try it, and that's using them on a standard Games Workshop small base to make a cobblestone effect. Really simple to do. It was just simply Tamiya extra thin, drop them on, let it dry, and then using ordinary wall filler, rub it on there, rub it off so it's left the stones raised, above the base, and there you go. And then just paint it and dry brush it. It's a really, really cool cobblestone effect. That's only a tiny, tiny little thing. But if you was to do a decent size, diorama or something of a cobbled street, like the hill with the Irish bloke, the lad with the Irish pushing the bike up the hill. Red for neighbours. it's that sort of effect. It's perfect. It's lovely. Good stuff then. Don't throw your diamond out little bits away, little plasticky bits away. Save them, use them. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, so let's give them a last coating. And this was the copper. Give it a bit of a stir. Brushing around. So you can brush these, you know, but is it as nice an effect as no? Because you are getting brush marks in it. Even though I'm trying my hardest not to. You can do it. Be good for little tiny bits if you don't want to mess about getting your airbrush out. But for larger areas, yeah, airbrush them. Airbrush them. Give that a rinse. You know, I still haven't updated my month making times from Tuesday. That was very naughty of me. I should have done that. So I'm gonna have to wing it in a minute. The most important one to remember is on the 30th of next month starting at 7 p.m. It's the Models for Heroes auction on ISM's. Paul Bretland and co do a fantastic job of that. So hands up, big hand for that, Paul and Lee and the gang over at ISM. You know, cracking idea, cracking thing to do, and we'll all get behind you, mate, because it's a fantastic charity. Right, and so let's give this Toxic Purple another quick. Yeah, this is going to have about 4 or 5 coats to make any sort of difference. Let's try and go across a little bit. Yeah, that's going to need a few more coats, and it's very brushy. Because you're working with it's actually quite thick, big metal flakes, and the carrier medium is quite tacky. It's quite sticky, actually. Very sticky medium, and it's being used to suspend it in. It's going to be very, very hard to brush paint that. The lighter colours. It's doable, but it's going to be hard. Like I say, it's like a very thick. It's quite a gel, a tacky gel medium. It's not like a normal acrylic paint medium that this stuff's suspended in. It's obviously part of the secret to how it works, but yeah, let's not bother with the airbrush on them. The thingy brush on them. We'll stick to the airbrush. Unless, like I say, if you're just doing a tiny touch up, and I was worried about that because on the Beetle, let's get Lennon. Come here, Lennon. There's a lot of extra work goes on top of the paint job. There's a lot of leaves, a lot of wood and branches and things growing on him, and mushrooms actually growing on him. And I was really concerned about, can I touch this up? So I did a little tiny bit on the underside, and yes, it's totally unnoticeable. A bit of black on there again, and then paint it with the, and it just blends in. It's clever stuff. It's very, very clever stuff. I don't know how they miss some sort of black and dark magic or something. I don't know how they've done it, how they got it to work. But that's the proof in the pudding. This stuff really, really works. It's amazing. So, would I recommend anybody to buy this stuff? If you've got an airbrush, yes, definitely. If you're doing a street race with a car, and you want to do a custom paint job on a 124 scale car, this is the stuff to go for without a shadow of a doubt. I might even try it on some Space Marines and see what Space Marines armor looks like and this sort of stuff, because I reckon some of these other sets if you've got salamanders, which is a Space Marine chapter, Borealis Green, I reckon, or Emerald Gateway Probably Emerald Great Gateway actually would look fantastic on salamanders. I quite fancy having a go at ultramarines with this celestial azure. I might have a quick go at that. The cobalt blue will be a bit too dark. I don't know. I might actually mix the two. The other thing you can do with this, you can actually mix the two colours together. And I shall do that. I'll probably show it off. I'll probably stick it on the boom and the model making co-op, a couple of pictures. We'll have a look at that. So, like I said, this has not been paid for in any way, shape or form by Green Stuff World. I bought this stuff myself. I'm doing this. I used it on the Beetle and I love this stuff. But if they want to send me sets 2 and 3 and some of their textured rollers, I'll quite happily try them out for them. I'll give them a go for you, lads. But it's good stuff. Soler and Amelia. What the heck? That's a weird one. Number 1727. How would you even pronounce that? Solar and Amelia. Oh. I like how I bought that one. It's sort of gold to a pinky colour. That's weird. Right, anyway, so let's have a look at model making times and then we'll have a quick look at chat. And then I'm probably going to shoot off and get a sandwich because my stomach thinks my throat's been cut. Right then, so what day are we on? Thursday. Christopher. Is Christopher in? I don't think he is. I haven't seen Chris. in. Is an evening with tonight at 8 p.m. I'll just go through the normal Fox on Friday, but something's going to fall out. I don't know what it is. If he's got bush and boxer shorts on, we don't want to watch that fall out. Friday, Natalie is at 8 p.m. Are you doing your 8 p.m., Natalie? I believe Natalie will be doing it at 8 p.m. Dexterous crafting. You got to be dexterous, see? Nat, you got to be dexterous. Saturday, Fox at 3, Skyrim. There's one or two others. I'm reading off the old one. I'm going to have to redo this. The crash on Saturday night with James and Carl and Chris and Lewis. Chris does make me laugh. Like Grizzly Adams on speed, that bloke. He really is. Funny guy. Very funny bloke. Sunday, Models for Heroes in the morning, followed by James with the Model Officer's Mess, followed by Colin and Dave with what I still think is the funniest show that is on the tubes, and that's the Sunday brunch, followed by Fox at 3 o'clock with his normal Sunday Warhammering. Dad does the between shows you show in between show, that thing that Dad does at 6:15. Chris and or Ted at 8 p.m. And then Monday, as normal, Lewis at 3 o'clock with his Lancaster build. 6:30 is Grant 5760, and then E-Models at 9. And then Tuesday is Phil Frame with Frame Time Modelling with 2 idiots that join him occasionally and make him laugh and try and get him to make mistakes, but he never does. And that's it. And then, like I said, on the 30th of next month at 7 p.m. on the ISM channel is the Models for Heroes auction. That's what's going on. Mine's at 4 o'clock. Oh, yes, Lewis. I keep forgetting. Hang on. Let me get my pencil and amend that. It's not 3 o'clock on a Monday now. It's 4 o'clock because the children are home. The children are back at school. It's wonderful. My house is glorious at the moment because the 2 youngest ones are back at school and it's peace and quiet and it's heaven. So Monday is now 4 o'clock for Lewis with his Lancaster build. There we go. Job done. Sorted. Right. Any questions before I pass out and have a bag and then go and get something to eat? Anybody? Anybody? Quickly? Anybody? No, that's it. Right then. So thank you all once again for coming in. That's how we use the Green Stuff World colour shifter paints. Simple, isn't it? It's really, once you know how to do it, you know, it's just. Lewis has got a question. Lewis has a question. Go on, Lewis, ask away. As long as it's not of a sexual nature, we'll quite happily answer it. Jeff saying thanks, Greg and Dave. Great live stream. Thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure to have you in, mate. You are one of my regulars, and I thank you a lot for that. Nipping in, mate. Thank you very much. And it's always nice to know that America is still alive and kicking. Hopefully, still alive and kicking. But there we go. So that's it's good stuff. It is good stuff. It's very, very easy to use, and it produces results like this. What? You know, good stuff. Good stuff. Dave's got a question. Runger's got a question as well. Oh my goodness me. Lewis is still trying to, obviously it's a long question because Lewis is typing. There you go. Not sexual natures. Where do you get your nail varnish? Ask it varnish. What? What nail varnish? It's not nail varnish. I've got nail powders. There is an equivalent, there is an alternative to using this stuff, and that is nail powders. And if you go back on my channel through the history, there's me using this stuff on a very, very terrible and horrendous Volkswagen beach buggy from Revel that was actually so bad it wasn't molded properly and there was plastic missing from the actual body of the car. And I emailed them, never heard a thing back, and to me, Revella pants. But there you go. That's my own personal opinion, not the views of anybody else's. I think Revella pants because the moulding was terrible. There was plastic missing from the actual body of the car where there wouldn't been enough plastic put in the mould. And the response I got back from the customer service was absolutely nothing. Zilch, nada, not a thing reply to 4 emails that they were sent. So, as far as I'm concerned, to Revel. Right, so that's it. Where do you get your paints from? Which ones? I got my Games Workshop paints from Games Workshop. I got my Tamiya paints from Waterlooville Models, my local model shop, owned by a good friend of mine, Paul, who's a cracking bloke. And if you live in Portsmouth or around the surrounding area, that's the place to go. It's a traditional model shop with lots of things on shelves, and you just go. You can't. He's got signs up now saying, please don't touch the boxes, I'll get them for you, because of this Velociraptor thing, obviously. But it's a traditional model shop run by a great guy, and it's one of my favourite places to visit. I went there this morning, actually, and had a natter. The Green Stuff World stuff, the colour shifters I got off the Flea Bay. My Warhammer Army Painter paints I got off the Flea Bay. The ones I've just used. These I got off the Flea Bay, mate. They were like I said, $24.99 I think I paid for them from Green Stuff World to sell from the eBay site. So there we go then. Thanks all, like I said, thanks all for watching. Thanks for nipping in on that. And don't forget, there's a nasty virus going on. So wash your hands and keep the change, you filthy animals. And I'll see you next. I'll see you in the week on other people's shows. We'll nip in and have a chat. And I don't know what I'm going to do next week. It'll be something totally random and probably bizarre, like it normally is. I'll think about something in the week. So once again, thanks all, guys. We'll see you in the week. Right, bye. How do I turn this thing off? Mother, how do I turn it off? There we go.